I am Bibek Raj Shrestha from Nepal. I'm a first-year PhD student at University of East Anglia, funded by the SENS TTP. Today, I'm not presenting any results or data. Sorry to disappoint you, but I'll be sharing you my journey, my research experience, some questions and confusions. So yeah, please bear along with me. Nepal is like a small in area, but it's a quite biodiverse country. You might have heard mostly about Mount Everest, but our biodiversity goes beyond those Himalaya. And I've been fortunate to work with these beautiful species in my lifetime, from tracking snow leopards to monitoring the Ganges River dolphin. Nepal has been celebrated globally for its biodiversity success. Like, we've been able to double the tiger population, recover the rhino population, and we have had like a good amount of coverage of protected areas. So this is how we see that about 25%, 23% of our areas has been protected. And we are globally renowned for the tourism-based and the nature-based ecosystem in the country. So this success lies with our history of conservation. Formally, it goes beyond the last 50 years with the structural, but if we go back, it goes even further than that, when we had this idea of coexistence with biodiversity. That goes back to our cultural tradition in animism, or you say Buddhism, or the Hinduism. But the success also comes with the tensions. We do have tension of tourism that brings not only the jobs and the money, but also waste, pollution. The illegal wildlife trade still goes around the borders of Nepal. We do have the human wildlife conflict, where there's a cost to the human lives and the properties, and obviously the climate change is something that's really threatening to the protected areas and the species. So, among these backdrop, here comes my PhD. As Philip told earlier about this target, so I'm targeting on the target 3, where we have this global mandate to have 30% of the global, the land and the marine protected. So Nepal has around 23% already protected. So there's 7% more that's left. So my research questions are, where can we protect next? How can we do it better? And how can it be the climate ready? So one of the very globally floating ideas is OECM, that's Order Effective Area Based Conservation Method. So the whole idea is to protect the areas outside the protected areas, and which have a biodiversity value and have been conserved by the communities. So Nepal did something similar with the multi-stakeholder people and consultation, and they have 58 sites that have been identified. The government seems quite comfortable saying, like, okay, we have areas to be allocated into the more conservation areas. The community has a very different idea to that. They are not so comfortable because, that also means a part of their rights might be gone. So the ecology side of me was very excited, and then I started wondering, okay, what can be the next areas? But as I dug deeper, I paused. I wondered, who decides what gets protected and what cost? So I reflected on that. But the reflection also has a story. So I would like to take you back to Nepal, to this mountain in the West Himalaya in Dolpa. So I was being with the team where we were tracking the snow leopards, and other team were coloring. And yeah, it's a lot of culture and beautiful people out there. And done the job, and we came back, and after a long time, we learned that all the snow leopards, 4 of them that were colored, died. We don't know how, why. There was no any investigations done. So I think that really made me angry at some point. Like, okay, it could be the communities. There's a lot of loss of the livestock, which means life for them. But I also realized that these are also people living in harsh conditions with a very less minimum compensation, while minimum of like millions of conservation dollars flows past them. So this is something, yeah, made me really think. And yeah, like as I started learning, like there's also like like difference mismatch of like global assessment and the local realities. So this paper was very highly cited by Strasbourg, 2020, and if we were about to like listen or like follow what the paper said, around 84% of the agricultural land has to be converted to restore nature. It's something it's being said where the country is economically unequal and dependent on agriculture. And in 2009, just before the conference in the UN, Nepal had 3 protected areas announced just before the summit. And I started wondering, like, was ecologically informed or politically motivated? So this is like a pattern that we see, where the international, like a expectation has a national implications. And the communities we have, who have seen this recent history of injustice are resisting. So they fear of losing the autonomy over the resources that they work closely with. And against this backdrop is where my PhD comes. Okay, how can I think of protecting the areas where the communities are also equally respected? And finally, my research questions has to do with the climate change, where I'm trying to look at how the protected area system that we have is climate ready, because the Himalayas are getting warmer twice than the average, and we have been seeing the shifting species, even the tigers in the higher Himalayas. So that's happening. So in general, my PhD is looking at how can conservation be ecological representative, socially just, and climate ready. And like it has a very multi methods. I've been thinking of remote sensing, ecological, and participatory methods. So I told you, like, I don't have any data to share, but I think I'll have some reflection to share with you. So first one is like conservation must be socially just. I think we all agree with here. Like it's not only about protecting land or species, but also recognizing people who live there, who live close to the place we are about to protect. Interdisciplinary is essential but difficult. I think this has been something we've been listening. To be honest, I come from the natural science background, and the transition hasn't been easy for me. So I'm more comfortable with Excel sheets than ethnographies, stats than the stories. And I often feel unprepared, like methodologically and emotionally. Do I have right tools and trainings to what it takes to the interdisciplinary research, where I have to think between the people and the policies, species, and the justice. But I think this discomfort is important because I think it grounds us to understand this is a complex issue, and which is entangled already with the local justice, climate change. So I think the conservation is about active listening and reflecting and reacting as before studying. And yeah, and most of the times even the global agendas can miss the local realities, the last one. So we should not make the solutions erase the complexity. So with this final note, with this picture in the end, I would like to tell again, conservation isn't about just counting species. It's about listening to the ecosystem, listening to the people, and most importantly, listening to to each other. Yeah, thank you so much.